Okay. Great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's great seeing such a wonderful crowd here this evening. My name is Stephanie Parks, and I'm currently an MSW student, Master of Social Work student, and an intern with the Disability Cultural Center here at Syracuse University. These kind of events take a lot of teamwork, as we like to use the word, and a lot of interaction with colleagues around campus and throughout campus, communities and different colleges throughout Syracuse University. I wanted to get things started by thanking our funders and co-sponsors of this event, and I just wanted to take a moment to make sure I mention their names. This event is made possible by the co-curricular departmental initiatives program within the Division of Student Affairs and co-sponsorship by the Disability Cultural Center, the Renee Crown University Honors Program, the Center on Human Policy, the Disability Student Union, the Beyond Compliance Coordinating Committee, and the Disability Law Society. A big thank you to all of our funders and co-sponsors. Applause, applause. Take a few moments. At this time, I'd like to turn over the microphone to Diane Weiner, who is the director of the Disability Cultural Center here at Syracuse University. She will introduce this event series. Thank you.
So we are competing with several other major events on campus, but that's okay because even if we wind up having 25 or 30 people here, which seems like what's going to happen, we're going to have a great time and there'll be more for you to eat. So I'm very delighted to have the opportunity to welcome you because this event series was the collective creative enterprise of Professor Steve Kusisto and myself. And Steve, as you may know, is a very well-respected, delightful, and brilliant, kind human being who happens to be faculty in disability studies, distinguished faculty, and also the director of the Renee Crown University Honors Program. And he refers to me as his co-conspirator. And when we first met, when I first came to campus 3.5 years ago tomorrow, when we first met, we decided that we wanted to create a creative writing series that featured and highlighted or showcased disability identity through different forms of creative expression in the written form. So we have had poets, creative nonfiction writers, bloggers, and other types of writers. And so tonight is a play, which of course is based on a screenplay, which was written and directed by Shannon Enders, who's here with us, and I'm going to introduce her in a moment. And the play's content about Nora's life was written with Nora's involvement. So it's a collaborative effort around disability rights and activism. And I met Nora in a couple of years ago when she was part of a panel visiting a class that I've taught called Introduction to Disability Studies. And Nora mentioned to me, I have this play, Diane, and I'm a man of my word. And I said, well, we should have that play come to campus. And this is the premiere of the play at Syracuse University, I believe. So I'm really very happy that we were able to produce this and have it happen here. So let me say that that's a little bit about Disabilities as Ways of Knowing, a series of creative writing conversations. And I have a short bio here I'm going to read about Nora, and then I'm going to introduce Shannon Enders, who will say a little bit more, and then we'll have the performance, right? That's the plan, okay. So a native of Utica, New York, Nora Johnsen is a disability rights activist and storyteller. Nora was diagnosed with Williams syndrome when she was 3 years of age. She's a graduate of the 2-year College Works program through ARC for individuals with disabilities at Mohawk Valley Community College. Right on. So Nora presents at colleges, social service agencies, and for doctors, which I think is extremely important, educating the medical profession, members of the medical profession in Syracuse, Boston, and Montreal. The stories she shares are of her personal real-life experiences. So some of my students are here, and I'm really delighted about that. And we have an assignment in the class about memoirs. And reading about people's real-life experience is very different than reading about people told by other people, right? And I know we have some people who are social workers in the room and other activists and people from lots of different backgrounds. So these are Nora's experiences from Nora's point of view. So the stories that Nora will share of her personal real-life experiences in her own words, Nora will describe vividly what it was like to grow up longing for pure affection, dignity, and equality. She'll share her struggles, her triumphs, and her dreams in hopes to raise awareness of the need for tolerance and, much more importantly, inclusion for people with and without disabilities. Her life story has inspired the creation of the play I Dream a World, and it was co-written and produced by Shannon Enders for the Arts and Education Institute in Utica, New York. Nora has performed the play in multiple contexts, including Herkimer County, local schools, Utica College, Hamilton College, and as I mentioned, also the National Williams Syndrome Conference in St. Louis, Missouri, and as I mentioned, this is a premiere at Syracuse University. So I'd like to welcome Shannon to this space to talk a little bit more with you about what's been involved in creating this production. Thanks very much for being here.
Diane. So hi, my name is Shannon Enders. I'm a theater for social justice professor at Utica College. At the time I met Nora's mother, I was working at Hamilton College, and soon after I met her mother, I met Nora. And after I got to know Nora, I realized we had a lot in common. I have a son with a learning disability, and I also have a husband with a severe visual impairment. So after I got to know Nora and learn about her background, I saw many ways in which our lives intersected, the struggles that we had to go through, and to fight for inclusion, and just to help my son get through school. So I thought, how can we use Nora's story, and how can we have her tell her story, and at the same time create understanding and awareness in the world? So I asked Nora if she would be interested in creating a performance piece, and she was delighted. So we sat down and we just talked, and I began to learn more about her life and her background. And after, she also helped me stage some of this. So we began to think, how can we now take these words and these stories and do something different with them? Create a work of art for the stage based on her stories. So that's what we did, and that's what you're about to see. In the beginning of the show, you'll hear an original music piece. It was composed by Monk Rowe. He's a local musician, jazz musician, and after he read the play and read Nora's story, he sat down and composed this original piece of music. Accompanying that music is a series of photographs of Nora from infancy to adulthood. It includes Nora from just a baby to her young toddler life, her family, her friends, her speaking engagements, her advocacy work. And also on the song, I want to just say Heather Johnson in the song is playing the clarinet, Nora's mother, and Sar Strong is on the piano. Later on in the show, there is also a series of storyboards. Nora will sing a little song, and she tells a story about her childhood, how she was playing with a child at the park, and a parent had come over and removed their child once she saw and realized that Nora had a disability. So Nora describes this experience and has some dialogue, but there are also a series of storyboards, 4 of them, that just sort of chronicle, the event of that time. I just want to say thank you so much for having us here again and for sharing our work. And I hope you enjoy the show. And I hope you can stay afterward for the Q&A. Thank you.
I dream a world by Langston Hughes. I dream a world where man, no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth, and peace its paths adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice blights our day. A world I dream where black or white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth, and every man is free. Where wretchedness will hang its head and joy like a pearl attends the needs of all mankind, of such I dream my world. My name is Nora Johnsen, and I am 35 years old. I would like to share some true stories about my life, because I, too, dream a world. I have a brother, Charlie, a sister, Maggie, and I live in my own apartment in Clinton, New York. Some of the things I like are music, especially heavy metal music. My favorite group right now is Five Finger Death Punch. I also like to read, especially Stephen King books. I think he's a really good author. And I love animals, especially my cat, Spunky. And I really like people, and I like to learn about different cultures and about different languages. Some of the things I'm good at are computers. I know how to surf the internet and teach people how to do filing. I also am good at science. I passed my science RCT when I was in high school. My favorite kind of science is geology. I have Williams syndrome. What is Williams syndrome? I am so glad you asked that question. Syndrome is a rare condition caused by genetic differences from the average person. Some signs are missing elastin genes, so it's hard for them to do exercising. Heart problems, which include supravalvular aortic stenosis, which is the narrowing of the arteries to the heart. Elfin characteristics, which include short, punchy cheeks and a turned-up nose. Sensitivity to loud noises, including fireworks and thunderstorms. Great language skills. I know a lady that can sing 35 different languages. Other characteristics include learning problems in math and writing. Math, it's hard for them to do arithmetic, and writing, it's hard for them to write in between the lines because of a thing called dysgraphia. But cognitively, there is a great variety. Average to above average intelligence. Some learning disabilities, so if they have to take a test, they need to go in a different room. They can be very friendly, and that could be good or that could be bad. I'm still learning how to control my friendliness so people don't take advantage of me. Another aspect of Williams syndrome is anxiety. In school, I did not have many friends. Hi, I'm Nora. Want to play with me? Guess not. Hi, I'm Nora. Want to play with me? Guess not. I'm not sure I'm like everybody else, and I'm not sure I want to be, but I dream a world where people are a lot like me. I have a lot of bad memories about school. I'm not comfortable talking about all of them. So I can't tell you everything. But I can tell you that I was harassed and bullied and called horrible names. The R word was everyone's favorite. People have called me that name throughout my life, as far back as I can remember. Kids and even adults have used the R word to describe me. It made me feel embarrassed about my disability. When I was about 12 years old, my brother invited his friend Rudy McDougal to come over and play video games. Naturally, when Rudy arrived, I introduced myself. Hi, Rudy, I'm Nora. He didn't say anything, so I thought I would try again. Hi, Rudy, I'm Nora. This time, Rudy didn't look at me, he looked at my brother and said, I didn't know you had a retard in your family. My brother said, what did you call her? And I said, yeah, what did you call me? I said, I didn't know you had a retard in your family. My brother said, don't call her that name. And I said, yeah, don't call me that name. I got so mad, I took the book of Where the Wild Things Are, flung it across the room, and it smacked Rudy McDougal right in the head. Boy, was he surprised. My brother said, get out of here, Rudy McDougal. And I said, yeah, get out of here, Rudy McDougal, and never come back. Unfortunately, I got into a lot of trouble that day. My mother said, Nora, violence is never the answer. I said, but Mom, he called me a retard. She said, Nora, you can get hurt, or you can hurt someone else. You can get into big trouble too. I was grounded for 2 weeks. They were right, even though it felt good to push back for once in my life. I had to learn to fight back in other ways. I don't throw books at people anymore. Instead, I educate people about my disability. It works much better. Sometimes kids weren't the problem. Sometimes it was the parents. I have this one memory from my childhood. Underneath the moon, underneath the stars, here's a little heart for you. Up above the world, up above it all, here's a hand to hold on to. Hi, I'm Nora. Hi, I'm Anna. Want to help me, Anna? Sure. Underneath the moon, underneath the stars, here's a little heart for you. Up above the world, up above it all, here's a hand to hold on to. Then Anna's mother came. Anna! Mom, this is Nora. Anna, come with me. But Mom, we're making a sandcastle. Anna, get away from her now. You're just the one that I've been waiting for. I'll give you all that I have to give and more, but don't let me fall. Sometimes I feel like I'm just some person walking around separately from everyone else. Like I'm some kind of mutant thing that people are afraid of. But I dream a world where people see. But I dream a world where disabled children don't feel separate or ugly. I had some wonderful teachers, and some were very patient and kind to me, especially Miss Pembroke. She took the time to learn about Williams syndrome, and she discovered the best ways to teach me how to read. To this day, I'm a good reader because of Miss Pembroke. Here's an example of how great I can read. On the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by Eleanor Roosevelt. We stand today at the threshold of a great event, both in the life of the United Nations and in the life of mankind. This Universal Declaration of Human Rights may well become the international Magna Carta of all men everywhere. Wherever you are, Miss Pembroke, thank you very much. I had a hard time writing and doing math because of how my mind processes things. This frustrated me, and it frustrated teachers a lot too. What was worse is that teachers didn't always understand how to help, and they didn't always have the resources to help me. There was one horrible memory from my high school. You, and you, shut up and get to your places. You, get away from that window now. Okay, do I have to put a sign on the door that says this is a retard room to make you behave? I dream a world where teachers will be patient, sensitive, and will have the training and resources to help all children learn and grow in a healthy way. School has always been a difficult place for me. As a result, the problems that I had gradually got so bad, and I had to be hospitalized in the Yale New Haven Hospital in 1999. I was very depressed, and it was a very hard time. The doctors really helped me. They said that I had a severe anxiety disorder and that over time I could learn to cope with everything. I'm still learning how to do this, and I dream worlds where disabled kids won't suffer emotionally and psychologically. Since I left high school, I've gone on to take college courses and am learning how to become more independent. I am currently looking for a job, but this has been a real challenge. Hi, I'm Nora, and I'm applying for the receptionist position. Yes, I have a disability. It's called Williams syndrome. But I can type really well. I'm great on the phones, and I'm reliable. But the position was advertised in the paper. You'll call, right, in the next couple weeks? Thank you. They never call. Did you know that 70% of individuals with disabilities are unemployed? I dream a world where people notice my strengths and talents. I dream a world where I can support myself. I have many talents. As you can see, this is my Gothic quilt. It took a long time to make, but I really like it. And it's tied in the back. I'm also really interested in photography. I like to take black and white pictures, but I also like to take regular pictures. One of these pictures is of the Adirondacks, and one of these is a picture of Lake Tahoe. I also like to do necklaces, especially with minerals. I think plastic is really a waste of time. If you would like to, you could look at my crafts at the end of the show. I've also done some volunteer work in the community. Most recently at a place called the Masonic Home, where on Friday nights I serve people drinks and hors d'oeuvres. I'm also a disability rights advocate, and I educate people about my disability by doing PowerPoint presentations at places such as Ohio University, Syracuse University, MIT, and California. Most recently, I performed this play at the Williams Syndrome Conference in St. Louis, Missouri, where people from all over the world came to learn about this condition. When people see me, I don't want them to see Williams syndrome. I want them to see Nora, the photographer, Nora, the actress, Nora who likes heavy metal music, and Nora who just is fun to be around. If I could talk to kids with if I could talk to children with disabilities, this is what I would say. There will be times in your life where things will be stressful. But having a good imagination will get you far in life. You might find that music and arts will interest you. Whatever path you follow, look for people who are kind and who will help you through things. When you find them, you'll not be alone. My name is Nora Johnsen, and I dream a world.
One more round of applause, please, for Ms. Johnson. So, do you want to help with the microphone, Ms. Parks, or shall I do that? Okay. So we have time for some questions, and then we'll have some time to have some food and be with each other, which we're already doing. So if anyone has any questions, Stephanie will assist you.
Any questions over this way? Yes. Great, we have a question over here.
Did you say that you were from Utica?
I'm from Clinton, New York.
Oh, from Clinton.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if the Masonic home was the one in Utica.
Yeah, it is the one in Utica, but I live in Clinton.
Okay, I know that building. It's very beautiful. Okay, I just wanted to know that. And I also wanted to say that I liked the part of your story where you threw the book.
Yeah, I know. I love that part too.
I did, and I identify with that. I think as children, disabled children, sometimes that's what we know how to do. And even though our parents would like to punish us for that behavior because it's supposed to be wrong, it does take care of the problem.
Yeah, it does.
And as a deaf child, I was made fun of quite a bit every single day on the playground. And my father taught me how to box, and I took care of it. But then you learn how to do it when you grow up.
Yep.
A little differently, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's better to educate people.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that comment.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
More questions over here right now? Are there any more questions for Nora? All right, Eddie has a question here.
Hey, Nora.
Hi.
That was really great.
Thank you so much.
I remember that book too. It's pretty got a nice edge on it. So
Yeah, it does.
I'm sure it. Yeah. So I was just wondering if you have any other ways that you tell your story. Maybe if it's online, or if maybe something like this is on YouTube, or you have a website, or a book, or something else. Just because I really like your story, and trying to think of ways to share it with other people.
It's actually going to be put on YouTube after this performance. Yes. Do you want me to explain? Yes, please.
So Nora and I had a conversation about this. You don't really need to get me in the shot, but okay, Sean, I'm going to sit here with you. Is that all right?
Sure. Thank you so much.
So Nora and I had a conversation about YouTube, and Nora's given us permission to record this, and I want to thank Sean from the video production unit at Syracuse University. And as you can see, we have communication access, real-time translation, live captioning, and Doreen Radin and her crew at Caption Advantage are going to give us a transcript from this, which will be synced with the video and put on a public YouTube channel, which will be available to anyone on the entire planet, and of course captioned.
Cool.
So thanks, Nora,
Thank
for letting
you.
us do that.
Are there some questions from this side of the room? Great, we have someone over here. Tell us your name, please.
This is actually Erin's question. I'm just translating for her.
Okay.
Nora, she wants to know how your life is better with your newfound fame. These two go way back, so.
Things are really good now. I am learning how to become as independent as I can, and I'm living in my own apartment now in Clinton, and I'm really enjoying that. And I'm going to be going to Las Vegas on the 26th, so that's really exciting. I've always wanted to go there, and yeah, things are doing pretty well. I'm still trying to find a job, and you know, trying to do other things, but I have a lot of support, and that's what really counts, you know.
That's great. Thank you, Nora.
Mhm.
Any other questions over here? Nadia? No? No? Okay. Raise your hand high so we can see them. All right. Oh, we have a question over here. Thank you. Professor Parks.
Nora, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Nora, would you explore a little bit more your love of heavy metal music?
You want to know, really?
Would you please?
Yeah. Ever since, you know, I was young, I've always been interested in, like, kind of creepy things. And some of the metal I listen to is really dark and, like, kind of like black metal. So a lot of people wear makeup and stuff, and it's, like, really heavy. And I also listen to, like, atmosphere kind of music. So, and I am also, well, most recently I've really gotten into a lot more of the metal, and I've also been to concerts, which I really enjoy, and I've actually been able to see some of my favorite groups. And, you know, not to be mean, but a lot of people, you know, say a lot of bad things about people that listen to heavy metal music and also the groups. They say that most of the time they're always doing drugs or drinking and all that, and that's not true, you know? They're like everybody else. They just, you know, like different genres of music, and, you know, so that's what I, you know, was interested in heavy metal since I was younger, so. You're very welcome.
Great. Thank you. We're all set with questions. Any more? Okay, here's one over here. Thanks. Tell us your name, please.
Hi, I'm Cannon. I thought
Hi.
your story was amazing, by the way. Sorry, I'm a little sick. How do you think you overcame like all of the negative experiences as you were younger? And like, how did you get through like your depression period and things like that?
Well, for me, it really helped that I had a lot of support. And, you know, it really helps if you have a lot of support and people that understand you and stuff. And, you know, things were bad for a while, but, you know, I've grown a lot since then and have just, you know, learned to ignore that stuff. I mean, there were times when it was really rough, and, you know, I actually had to do a different kind of play where I had to be a bully, and that time was really hard for me, but I did it by remembering the stuff that people did to me and said to me, and that really helped me to be able to get into that character.
Great. Thank you, Nora. We have another question over here.
Yes?
How did you, Nadia from the School of Social Work, how did you get into performance art?
I got into performance art by going to see, Shannon, why don't you, do you want to explain that?
Here's Shannon.
I think you've always been interested in
Yeah.
the arts and crafts. I
Yeah,
think
I have.
you're an artist under
Yeah.
it all. And I just happened to recognize it when you walked in my office, the way she talked and spoke, and she was so articulate and gregarious, and I just thought, I need to put this woman on stage. She's wonderful. I knew just from conversations with her, she was a storyteller. So I think it happened. She'll give me the credit, but it happened long before I met Nora. She's always been just great at storytelling. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We have a question over here.
I'm Bob.
Hi.
You can call me Diane also. So I loved the part when you put on the expert jacket and the glasses.
Yeah.
And I've seen other disability rights activists make that move in performance before, but I think you did it with real irony. And I was wondering if you could comment on what it's like to put on that jacket and those glasses and point at this chart with this list of things that might be called symptoms and do that in your expertise as you, since you're really the expert about yourself. If you had any comments about that, I was just wondering.
Well, for me, I think that, you know, I've had so much experience with doctors and different kinds of people that are like into genetics and different things like that. And, you know, I thought about, you know, a funnier way to display that instead of making it sound like, you know, mean or harsh or whatever. You know, I wanted something that was funny so people would maybe, you know, not feel so scared about going to the doctor and stuff like that, you know. But there's another part of me that is kind of frustrated because there are doctors out there that are giving individuals with disabilities, especially with Williams syndrome, the wrong kind of medication for things, and they're getting really sick and everything. And the other aspect is when, you know, the doctors kind of say, you know, oh dear, how you doing and stuff, you know, kind of putting us like little kids or whatever, you know, and that's not good either.
Great, okay. Michael has a question? All right. Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Michael.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Nora. Just wondering, I saw that you have the ball and the lab coat. What's with the hat? I was like wondering the whole time.
Well, that's just one of the props that I usually use when when I'm doing the play, the part of the play where I'm the little girl. I just forgot to put it on this time. But my bad.
All right, Claudia?
Hi, my name is Claudia. I came in a little late, so, but I wanted to ask, since I heard you mentioned earlier that sometimes you get frustrated by like the doctors who do like kind of treat you like a little kid. I'm wondering if you ever have like a pressure to, I guess, show some parts of your performance, or depending on the audience, or like if you feel like you have to like bottle up the frustration if you're like talking to like a mostly like non-disabled audience, if that makes sense, or if you're like, I don't know if you ever.
Well, yeah, because sometimes I don't think that people really understand. Even when I do this play, sometimes people don't get it. Or like when I do my presentations, and there have been times where people, you know, didn't really like my presentation. They, you know, were complaining that some parts of it were too, like, sensitive, I guess. And I totally disagree with that. I think that, you need to see every aspect of a person. So that's the way I feel about that.
We have another question from Professor Parks.
Again, I want to thank you for your performance, but I also want you to know that I am pleased that you selected a Langston Hughes poem, because he was such a great artist and a great poet, and I appreciate so much that you read his work.
Great. Any more questions? Okay, I'm going to hand the microphone back to Diane. Thank you.
So I just want to thank you again for being here and for your incredible and very candid presentation of your own experience, which I think is the best teacher. So a big warm round of applause for Ms. Nora Johnsen, everybody. So we'll have time for lots of snacks, all kinds of beverages, 5 kinds of water, and thank you everybody for being here. Hope you have a wonderful evening.